The leaves are finally falling, the air is crisp and cool, and my kitchen has some incredibly familiar and delicious scents running through it. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle. I love to talk all about affordable living and intentional homemaking, and today on the channel, we're gonna get a little fall baking done. So the first thing that I wanted to put together for fall, this is not something we make just for fall, but it is one of our favorite recipes in the house. It smells delicious, tastes delicious, and works so good for everything, and that is our peanut butter granola. So I start off with 2 cups of oats, a full cup of peanuts, a third of a cup of agave, a third of a cup of peanut butter, and then I add all of the nice spicy bits. So I like to throw some cinnamon in there. If you wanted to make this a more fall-esque feeling item, you could throw some pumpkin spice or some ginger in here. And then I like to put a little bit of vanilla and a teaspoon of salt in there and mix it all together. It is one of my absolute favorite things to bake. We have bowls of this all over our house. It's really great for making some fruit parfaits, fruit and yogurt parfaits for the kids and for ourselves. It's also great to just have as like a nice afternoon snack because it has a nice chunk of protein in it between the peanut butter and the peanuts, and it is just a delicious treat to have in general. So I like to bake that in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes and put that into some nice jars to save for later, and it is delicious. The next thing we are going to make today are some delicious pumpkin scones. Now, when I say this is my #1 requested item that I bake for friends and family, I'm not joking here. It is such a delicious treat, and every time I make them, which I really only make them in the fall because I don't want to get sick of them, but everybody just raves about them. They're the first thing to go when I have a different fall party going on, and people just eat them up. So you want to start this recipe off by dicing up about a half a cup of butter. I just like to cube it up and then I set it off to the side while I get my dry ingredients together. So you want to start this off with 2 cups of flour. Then I arrange all of my different spices. I'm going to do a third of a cup of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of pumpkin spice. Then I'm going to throw in a teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and a half a teaspoon of salt. I like to mix that all around. Sometimes I use my hands, sometimes I like to use a fork. It's just kind of easier that way. I find if you use a fork to mix up your dry ingredients, then when you add the butter, you can use that in the beginning to kind of mash the butter in. And then honestly, I just use my hands to crumble the rest of the butter in. You want to really pinch all of the butter together into the dry mixture so that you're having kind of like a sand material. So that's always been the easiest way that I have found to do it, is just use my hands. Once you have that sand-like material, you can move your dry ingredients out of the way and you can get a separate bowl for wet ingredients. I absolutely love this bowl. Actually, both of these bowls I have are thrifted, but this lovely blue enamel bowl, it is actually pottery on the outside, blue enamel on the inside, and I love that it has a pour spout. I have found that to be a game changer in my baking when I have two different types of ingredients, like my dry ingredients and my wet ingredients, because then I can easily pour one into the other. It makes things super uncomplicated. So you're gonna do 1/3 of a cup of pumpkin puree, and then 2 tablespoons of milk or cream, a tablespoon of vanilla, and then you need about 1/4 of a cup of applesauce. And let's be honest, I did not have 1/4 of a cup of applesauce on me. I normally have it in my fridge for baking, but I apparently had run out, so I grabbed one of the kids' squeezies. It worked just as well, and I threw that into my mixture. Once all that was together, I then poured it into my dry ingredients and mixed that together as well. Once you are fully mixed together, you can throw a little bit of flour onto your working surface and then pour the mixture out. It's going to be a very wet dough, so I like to be heavy on the flour. That's just me personally. The heavier you are on the flour, it's really not going to change your dough too much. So it's not like if you throw a bunch of flour on there, it's going to all of a sudden become a very compact dough. It won't, so you can kind of load it up there. And then I just like to knead it together ever so slightly. This is honestly why I like to use so much flour when I am kneading the dough, so that it's not just a crazy wet mixture on my hand, but it'll actually come together into sort of a dough-like consistency. And once I have kneaded that a few times around, I could have actually kept this on the counter and cut it there, but I decided to cut it on my baking tray already. I have my baking tray with my Silpat mat. It is the greatest thing that I have because it makes it so easy to reuse over and over again. And then I just use my dough cutter and I cut this puppy up into 12 slices. Honestly, try to be as even as possible, but some pieces end up bigger than others, and that's okay with me too. So then I just kind of arrange them on my baking sheet and get ready to put them into the oven. So you're gonna wanna have your oven preheated at 400 degrees, and you're gonna pop these puppies in there for about 15 minutes. Honestly, you could probably go up to about 18 minutes. You can check on them and see if you want them to be a little bit more golden. You can do that as well. Once I have them out, I stick them on this cooling rack, let them cool ever so slightly. Here's the thing, you could let them cool all the way, but I kind of find that the icing sticks a little bit better when they are still slightly warm. So under my cooling rack, I always like to stick a cutting board so that when I have drip through, that there's something to catch it that's not just falling onto my countertops. And then I put together a little mixture of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. I actually ended up adding a little bit more, so it's probably more like 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar, and then a tablespoon of milk or cream and some pumpkin spice. And then I just drizzle it all over these scones. Guys, these are absolutely delicious. Like I said, one of my fall favorites, something that I get the most requests to make for other people. And I don't mind because I love having some nice, delicious, fresh fall scones around the house as well during the fall season. It not only makes my home smell amazing, it's just a great treat to have any time of day. And then I rounded up this baking day by putting together a little waffle mix. This is just a sourdough waffle mix. I will have the recipe for this linked below. I used Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone's cheddar sourdough waffle mix. It is such a delicious recipe. And I love to make these if we're doing like a quick night out. This night in particular, I was getting ready for Bible study. I put these together real quick so that I can make some sandwiches. We do some fried eggs with lettuce and tomato. Sometimes I'll add even a little extra cheese on there as well. They're so delicious. They come out so good. And they are a super easy, quick meal. We do these for lunches a lot, but if we're going somewhere, like I said, I was going to Bible study, then this is great for dinner time as well. I really hope that you like this video. I hope that you enjoy some of these recipes. Let me know if you try them out in the comments below. Subscribe if you are brand new. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys really soon in my next video. Have an amazing week. Bye, friends.